Hey, welcome to Unpacked Radio. I'm your host, Norris Pope Johnson. I got with me Batman.
Happy Friday, guys.
I got my man DJ Smoke.
What's up, people? How y'all feeling?
And I got my good friend, my man, my right-hand dude. You know what I mean? We've been through it all together. We even locked up somebody together.
Oh, you
Two
gotta
people
do it.
together, man. We have some interesting stories. If you ever want to know him, my man Donald, he owned his own. We own his own. He owned his own gym, and I'm so proud because I got to see him build it with my own eyes. Matter of fact, the Black MacGyver Kim actually helped him put some of the stuff together. So I remember the day, literally day one of the gym, and that was doing really, really well. And I have all my international brothers backstage. And one thing about fitness, this is why I love this shit, because we have every race, every color, every country. We got it all. And this is why I love the world of fitness. Let's do this, baby. Boom, boom, boom.
What's up?
What's up, everybody?
Only Norris would do some shit like this. Only Norris would do this. Only Norris would call everybody he know in the world of fitness and like pull up for an hour. We're going to try to squeeze in content. Only Norris would do this shit. But before I start the podcast off, let's start with Donald because he's here. How's your mental health?
Amazing.
Okay, how are you?
Yeah,
How's your feels right now?
Oh, I feel great. I'm always on a high, natural high. Everything's good. Everything's positive. Loving life, living life.
Okay.
Progressing every day.
All right, we're going to go to Mr. Forrest. How's your mental health before we start this podcast, man? How's your energy today?
My mental health has been on an uphill mountain from the beginning of this morning to now, and it's at an all-time high at this moment. So this is a good day right now. So I'm excited for this.
My man Josh, my buddy, when it's time for meets, right? This my guy right here. When it's time for let's go to a meet. Me and Josh are here. Josh,
Yes, sir. What's up, baby? What's up, man?
how's your mental health, bro?
It's good, man. It's good. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Happy to, be on the show and everything. Look forward to chopping it up with y'all.
Man, this is how fitness works. Only two grown men hugging in cat suits because we seen each other for the second time.
Hey, man. Hey, that's crazy how it worked out.
That's how fitness works.
Small world.
Like literally in like the most scandalous outfit you could be in the world of fitness, and you're hugging another grown man. That's just how fitness works. Ryan,
sir,
how's your mental energy right now, brother? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Going once, going twice. Ryan, how's your mental energy right now?
I am doing good there, guys. It's trucking through every day. Keep on keeping on, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Always a grind.
Steve, how's your mental energy right now, good brother?
I'm doing well. I'm at a really stressful point in training with everything in my business and everything going on, but doing well as far as positivity and my outlook on things.
I called you yesterday to say, I really love you, but I fucking hate you. Because you are looking chopped up like steel, my friend, and you're selling me on the fucking trend and the TRT. At this point, I'm about to go ahead and start using it, bro. Because you are looking awesome. You are on God mode right now, and I am jealous.
Which is really unfortunate because I'm supposed to be gaining weight and I'll keep losing weight. Damn.
My man Ken, how are you doing? How's your mental energy right now?
Right now, I'm feeling good, man. I'm glad to be on here. I'm excited. I'm ready to talk, do what we got to do.
I'm very jealous of your deadlift game, by the way. Your deadlift game is, man. One of these days, I'm going to kick you in one of your legs and bring you back down to my level or something. Kevin, energy, I got your message. I didn't think you was going to make it, bro.
Yeah, I told you I've never canceled on you, and I'm not about to. That was the rest of the message. It's just I had some bad leche, if you know what I mean, and it's not sitting right in my stomach. I'm in a lot of pain right now. But mental energy, I just had a therapy session yesterday, so I'm right as rain. I'm on the right track. Like I don't know if it's cool with everyone here to talk openly about that, but I'm a 43-year-old man who started therapy when I was 41, and it has made a huge freaking difference in my life.
Hey,
Absolutely.
ain't no
I
shame,
feel good.
no shame at all, man. No shame
None.
at all. I did it myself. I just turned 30, man.
Yeah, it was
What do
definitely
you got?
so thank you for being willing to talk about it.
Well, normally we only talk about fitness, but today's goal is to talk about a little bit of everything and clear up some issues as general life topics. But before we get into this good fitness, me and Tanisha and DJ Smoke were talking earlier offline, and before you cancel us, go to episode 2 of Unpacked Radio, where Norris was brave enough to sit down with 2 women from the community, and we had an open dialogue. And the way my life works, I like to have open dialogue.
Which community we talking about?
We're talking about the trans community. Norris was brave enough to do it, so before you
I remember that episode.
remember that. Because my first question to the panel is, how do you feel about women who transition in the world of athletics? And now Miss Leah Thompson is now the Woman of the Year in athletics. So she went from being 400 in the world to number 1. So should we be concerned for women in the sport of athletics? Let's start with Donald and work our way around the circle.
The answer is yes. So it's just it's the reason why everything's been separated for so long, men and women. It's just natural. It's just I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. She was number 400 and whatever when she was with the men. Went over to the women's side and was number 1. I mean, that's not a mistake. That's not an accident. It's the reason why we have everything separated. It's the reason why we have weight classes in boxing. It's the reason why heavyweights don't go against lightweights. It's there's a reason for all that. So yeah, it definitely should be separated.
Mr. Forrest, how do you feel about women athletics, and should we be concerned that maybe one day it will go away?
I agree with what he was saying about the answer is yes. The main thing I want to lead with, so like you said, don't cancel us, right? Like I love women. I love anyone I love anyone, but I love women. They're my favorite people in the world. But like my mother. But when it comes to athletics, like you were saying, weight classes, we've been separating the genders when it comes to athletics. But I believe because it's so new, and I'm not saying that someone being trans is new, because that's been proven to have been all the way back to the Roman Empire, right? So if we go by that logic, how we're implementing it into social structures now is very, very new. Like in the grand scheme of things, Google is new. Google is very, very new. And if we do that kind of timeline, implementing trans people into societal structures and athletic structures like professional and collegiate sports leagues, that's even newer than Google. And if you tell a 15-year-old, hey, I'm older than Google, they'll look at you like you're like an ancient statue. They won't believe what you're saying. So when we try to apply that logic, we're going to mess up for about probably the next 20 years. People are going to get canceled. People's feelings are going to get hurt. But in reality, the testing, the hormone level checks, I think it's a complete joke. Because in reality, I have a client right now. I won't say his or her name, but this client is not natural or was not natural. And after a health scare outside of using anabolics, it wasn't caused by the anabolics. It was a genetic thing. Said, I'm going to go full on natural, and this person got their levels checked. And technically, this person would be able to compete as a different gender because they fell into that spectrum because their levels crashed. So if I felt like because I'm no longer natural either, if I decided to just stop using anabolics completely and I decide to transition, I would be able to fall into that category because my levels drop for that time period when testing is held and they're notified for the testing. And all the muscle memory from anabolics, from all the training and all the years, bone density, all those things, I'm going to mop the floor with a lot of women. Not to say that like Ronda Rousey couldn't kick my ass, but when it comes to the blanket statement across the board, I'm going to clean up shop in a good amount of sports. And I believe it's really scary for women, really. Like the whole movement started off as empowering women Like it's time for women to embrace the power that they truly have. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for one woman.
Mhm.
Like you can stand in a room where a grandmother is and see upwards of 100 people being there as a byproduct of one woman being a grandmother or a great grandmother, and we're now taking that away from them in other aspects. I believe we need to embrace everybody, but they need to be in their lane. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Make a lot of sense.
My man Josh, I know your wife is definitely in the world of powerlifting, so I know you got something to say, bro. Talk your talk.
Actually, she and I have had this conversation. This was maybe a couple of weeks ago. First of all, I'm on the same boat with everybody. I've got no disrespect towards women whatsoever. As far as like a physical aspect, I don't think there's a comparison and everything between women and men. The way men are born and everything, you are absolutely born, genetics and everything. Genetics are a whole nother story. Not to mention as far as like how you're able to like build up your strength levels and everything. You can look at, for example, if you compare myself to Blair and everything, which is my fiance, Norris already mentioned everything. She does powerlifting as well. I mean, as far as it's so much easier as far as for me to build and everything on the muscle level than it is for her, which I have the utmost respect and everything for women who compete in powerlifting and everything. But I think I'm going to be on the same thing with Forrest here and everything. Everybody needs to stay in their own lane and everything on this one. I can't support and everything as far as like a man that's transitioning to women or whatever like that, and having them be able to compete in the same aspect. I find it to be a competitive disadvantage, for anybody that's competing against those. You know what I mean? In my personal opinion and everything, if you're going to go that route and everything, I think with how the times are going and everything, if you're looking to shake something up and everything, and this might sound crazy or whatever like that, have a new division or something that's added in or whatever like that, whether it be a trans division or something like that, where everybody in a sense or whatever like that is at these same levels. You know what I mean? You can't tell me that somebody, just because they're taking estrogen blockers or if they're taking, something or whatever like that to make yourself have a more feminine cycle or whatever like that, your muscle tissues, your all that stuff is going to be the same as a natural woman. That's my feedback on that.
The WNBA would be pissed if LeBron showed up.
Yes, they would.
Joanna man. Joanna man.
I know your wife is a warrior and she got into powerlifting. How do you feel about this topic?
Oh, is it my turn, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
I think everyone, first off, I want to say I think and believe everyone should compete in sport. Men, women, trans women, kids, every race, every creed, everybody should compete in sports. The world should not be segregated. Sports should be segregated. Sports are segregated. There's Pop Warner. There's different divisions. There's AAA ball. There's AA ball. There's A ball. There's the G League. There's the NBA. There's even in the Paralympics. There's if you have one leg, if you have two legs, if you have half an arm, if you're blind in one eye, blind in both eyes. All of these are different divisions, right? That's how sports is. So I encourage everyone to compete, including trans athletes. But in my personal opinion anyway, they should either have their own division or compete in men's open or untested sports. Now, I want to be very specific on that. I would happily go against anybody in men's open. I don't give a shit. Black, brown, green, 7 feet tall, 300 pounds, whatever. In the open division is the open division. But in the segregated divisions with skill level, size, weight classes, different abilities, junior, senior, varsity, all those kinds of things, that's already in their sport. So slot them in where it's appropriate, or men's open or untested. And why I want to say very specifically on the tested or untested sports, I don't think trans athletes going in either direction should compete in drug tested sports. They're exogenously regulating their hormones. That is explicitly against drug tested sports, regardless of politics, regardless of gender identities, regardless of anything. This is a person, individual, and good for them if that affirms what's in them. But they're regulating their hormones exogenously. When I competed as a WADA tested athlete, I couldn't take Benylin, man. So you're saying that another athlete in my division or a different division or trans man or trans women can regulate their hormones? Like say you're on TRT, even if your levels are the same as a natural guy, your hormones are going like this as the ester breaks down. That's an advantage. A guy on natural, no exogenous hormones, his testosterone is up and it's down. And do you eat that much that day? Do you sleep too much? Even TRT at a regular thing is an advantage. So with trans women, trans men, their hormones are like this because they're exogenously regulated. That is an advantage over a natural person in that thing. So quite simply, if you are on exogenous hormones, you should not be competing in drug tested sport. Come over to the untested side and let's have a party, right? So that's my opinion on that.
My man Steve, I know we about to get the science now, baby. Break it down for us, Steve. We about to get the science now. He got his kid and everything in the background. Give us to us, Steve.
I won't speak too much to the morality of the issue because I think everybody's kind of summarized a lot of those points regarding fairness and equality and competition of sport. And I think a lot of the nuance that you have to consider is if the sport is involving any kind of like contact, force generation, anything like that, there's a reason that they segregate men and women. And if the athlete in question previously was a man and transitioned to a woman, if they underwent puberty as a man, they're going to have, a number of benefits that they're never going to lose. So like men will always have, on average, a higher bone mineral density. So our bones are stronger. Our muscle, like cross-sectional area on average is larger. Our ability to recruit mononuclei from surrounding muscle fibers is higher and will always be higher. So like there's no pill you can take to block that. Which brings me to like the problematic nature of trying to regulate trans athletes by hormone levels. Ryan was speaking to how esters can be used to create a really steady hormone level for trans athletes or for like enhanced athletes. And that's true. But conversely, on the other hand, you could also start leveraging like what are called short esters, like propionate or like phenylpropionate even. And these esters are so quick that the athletes are able to quickly go up and then quickly go down within a matter of days. So if we're talking about an athlete that has a special pass to use exogenous hormones, but we're trusting them to stay at a certain level, well, if they start leveraging the right hormones, they're able to change things very quickly. And it could give them a competitive advantage. There have been a number of like case studies involving like force production in men versus women of equal weight and size. And like the men, surprise, surprise, always come out on top to the point where the average man has like 3 times more force production in his upper body and 2 to 2.5 times in his lower body. And so like, you're not even comparing apples to apples. You're like, a man is multiple times stronger. And even if you bring him down to a female's like hormone levels and you trust that he's not going to monkey around, he will always have those benefits that I mentioned, making it kind of unfair.
That's what's up. My man Ken, talk your talk, bro. How do you feel about this issue?
I kind of feel like, the same way everybody's kind of just said right now is like I personally feel that trans athletes should probably have their own division or be put on the non-tested side. That's just the way I feel. I feel like everybody just said the way I want, like everything that I wanted to say. So there's not much that I can really, add on to that. Besides that, I kind of agree that they should have their own division and compete on the non-tested side.
And now we're about to get more science because Kevin about to talk his talk because I know he got his kit open. So Kevin, give us the breakdown, bro.
I'm actually not going to delve too much into the science, but I am going to play the 13th man here if you're familiar with the concept. If everybody agrees, there should be somebody who plays, I hate the expression the devil's advocate, but there should be someone who disagrees in order to. But this is actually how I really feel. So I'll start by saying very clearly that this is a matter of priorities. And the first priority for me is that trans men are men and trans women are women. And I say that that's important because, and it's more important than anything else that we're talking about here, because they have the highest suicide rate, the highest murder rate, the highest violence rate. And that matters to me a hell of a lot more than sports. Outside of sports, that safety is an issue that, like Steve alluded to, force production and things like that. outside of regulated sports where hormones, what they're getting exogenous hormones, so tested sports. So I agree wholeheartedly with the points that Ryan and Steve made. And I will further say, perhaps provocatively, that I don't give a fuck about your competition when I'm thinking about the health and wellness of a person who is just trying to express themselves. I don't give a shit about your records. I don't give a shit about your medals. Sports can be wonderful, but there's a lot of sports that when men and women are segregated that they don't need to be. Archery, bitch, please. There's lots of avenues where we can take a look at this. And this is an opportunity for us to take a look at what sports truly need to be separated. Size, weight, experience, skill level, age, all of these things do play a factor. But if we take a step back and we take a look at it, honestly, we can, I think, with our collective minds, the amazing things that we've done, we can reach Mars, but we can't figure out how to make sports fair. I don't believe that. I think we can. I think we've got a lot of people who are grappling with a lot of things. Novelty, what's unfamiliar is scary. So if you don't understand what it's like to be in a trans person's skin, it makes you uncomfortable. The very first time somebody came out to me as trans, I had to grapple with it. I didn't know what to do. But I have since come around to the point that I don't need to understand what it's like to be them. I just need to make sure that they are supported, they have what they need to grow and to live and to thrive. And that is so much more important to me than some stupid state record at a high school level. I could not care less. You don't care about kids. You don't care about people if you're more concerned about a state record than you are their damn lives. So we can approach this from a way where we remove a lot of the unnecessary separation, perhaps take a fresh look at it, more open classes, which the Olympics is doing. And I know that Forrest or it was Forrest or Joshua first brought to the conversation, but the Olympic Committee is already looking at that kind of thing. Determining what sports actually need to be separated, then having a more open mind. I know that Ryan might like this. Let's be more open-minded about untested sports. Let's stop stigmatizing it to the point where it's this deep, dark secret where people have to cheat in tested and regulated sports and federations and make it so that it can be done safely with health in mind. You know, you improve the longevity and the life of individuals, men, women, trans, non-binary, everybody in between, at all of those levels, and we can take a look at it fairly. My sole exception in my mind at this point, as my opinion continues to develop, is those sports where safety is an issue, such as combat sports, specifically combat sports. I do think that they need to be a hell of a lot more careful than they are. And I lean hard to the left. I am woke as fuck. I'm a bleeding heart liberal. But even I'm like, we shouldn't do that. Somebody's going to get killed. Somebody's orbital bone's going to get cracked open. Some poor woman is going to get their brains beat in by a trans woman who has higher bone density, greater force production. And where it's dangerous, I think that's where we need to put a full stop and assess the situation before we move forward again. But that's just me.
Tanisha, you're a woman. So how do you feel about this? Yeah, you're a woman.
I think I agree with everyone with the exception of Kevin. Sorry,
That's
Kevin.
okay.
I definitely think that we should address people as they want to be addressed. I am all about equality and being inclusive. I think that, people should be allowed to be who they are and do what they want to do. But I don't think your freedoms get to impact my freedoms, right? So while you're concerned about the trans woman's mental health, what about the little girl's mental health? That now she wants to kill herself because she was technically beat by someone that's genetically a male, right? Genetically a male. I am okay with calling this person a trans woman. I'm okay with calling this person a woman, but genetically a male. Your freedoms should not impact my freedoms at the end of the day. And that impacts my freedom.
Can I possibly respond just to that specific point? Because I think it's important. It's a compelling argument. It really is. If you falsely equate the mental health impact of competing with a trans person as opposed to being a trans person. And I don't think that there is any data whatsoever anywhere that you can provide that demonstrates that competing or existing around trans people has an equally deleterious effect on mental health as being a trans person. Were someone to provide me with that, I might change my opinion.
Could I respond to that?
I see Forrest got a question, but before he makes a statement, I would like to say one thing I did learn on episode 2 of the podcast with as far as trans women and suicide, it is really high. And also prostitution is really high in that community because of resources and jobs. But go ahead, Forrest, make your statement, please.
Yeah, to go on that point, I was going to bring it up too. Kevin, you probably know the number better than I do. It was 40% in 2019. It's jumped right after the pandemic.
Yep. Everybody's jumped across the board, but trans folks are a little over 50% now.
Okay, so the point I was going to bring up, it was mainly just because while you were talking, I was writing stuff down because ADHD brain, I'll forget it when someone else says something funny or cool or informative. But the main thing, I'm a 90s kid. So I grew up in what I think is the last era of no such thing as participation trophies. There was a winner, there was a loser. And then all of a sudden, right around when I turned like 9, 10, everyone was getting trophies.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't understand. We lost. I don't understand. And I had to learn. And then now the new thing that I'm seeing now, well, excuse me, but let me elaborate on that point. In my opinion, everyone winning is not beneficial to the whole because that doesn't give you anything to be better at. I taught music. I was a music education major before I dropped out. I was a professional rodeo athlete. There was always something to be better than. There was always someone or something to get better than or someone to be better than, something to chase. But if you're already on their level, like because I said, or because like just to make everyone feel better, that takes away from the person that did grind their ass off and like put themselves on the top of that podium. And it also just gives all what they earned to the person that didn't work at all. We've all been in group projects in school where that one person didn't answer a phone call, didn't help in that project at all, but they got an A. That pissed me off in school. I don't want to see any young woman that has already had to have the historical struggle of not being involved within the last 100 years. 100 years is one person. People live to 100. That is one person ago. Historical, not having the right to vote, not having the right to be in a building. And then all of a sudden, they have to let people that we know scientifically were men. I'll address them as men now because they're trans men. I might have the terminology wrong, excuse me. But now they have to allow, for their sake, not their own, okay, yeah, they're going to take something I could have had, regardless of my work. I believe that's detrimental to women while it's beneficial for the trans. We just need to find the right way to do it, in my opinion. But that's something I kind of wanted to pick your brain about, because in the same context of everyone gets participation trophies, no winners, no losers, now it's no matter how hard I work, just because someone says I have to compete against the gender that I've had to compete with historically my entire life.
Well, before anyone else jump in, DJ Smoke, you have a daughter. How do you feel about this issue, my good friend?
No,
you have a baby girl who's in athletics. She be flipping and all other types of stuff.
Yeah, no, listen. And I tell her stay her ass in her lane. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's the truth. Honestly, I totally agree with the guys. Like, she needs to stay in her lane. She's a woman. Well, she's a little woman right now, but when she's gonna grow up to be an adult. But what I'm saying is, you can't compete with a guy. You can, but you can't.
You don't have to talk to me. I agree that we do.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can, but you can't. If that makes sense. I mean, you can do competitions, like you say. Hey, man, we can work out together and all that other shit. But I'm gonna always be stronger than you. You see what I'm saying? You can work out way more than me as a woman, and I cannot even do shit for 2 months, and I'm still gonna be stronger than you.
Maybe.
No, I am.
I seen a
I've seen some strong women though.
Who bench press more than me, bro.
No,
I
25. I've seen some strong women though. I've seen some strong women, but they on that shit too though. They ain't just doing it naturally.
Tested everything. She's 100% natural, and she will probably whoop my ass in the bench press. I'm a big boy.
I know. DJ, what's your bench press? What's your bench press, brother? DJ, what's your bench press?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, you know.
Tell me truthfully. Tell me truthfully.
We've been pressing the same stuff.
Hey, well, it's been a while, but my max is 275.
My next
275. All right. I want to put this up. My ex-wife, who is absolutely natural, could bench 250 after 2 years.
Wow. See, I haven't
All right,
did.
now she was a bit of a bigger girl, but it was excess body fat. It was, a lot of things that and technique and
Central
that
nervous
had it
system
up there.
training.
But like, it's serious. She was very serious about training. She had, as many things as we disagree on, obviously, because she's the ex-wife. We did agree on the importance of training.
I feel you with the ex-wife, but
Yeah. And she's 25 pounds off you, so I don't think you're just taking it off for 2 months, your lifetime best. And my ex-wife trained for just 2 years, had never reached her best. I don't even know what she could do now.
No, I mean, I'm just because I'm going through the ex-wife stuff, so I'm just now getting back of training, But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't want to do if I was to enter a competition. Never did a competition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. How can I put this without getting canceled? But I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't want to go against a transgender guy.
Okay. My next question is.
Clean it up so we don't get canceled.
My next question is, like, to be honest, like, we're all, very dominant people in this space right now, mostly men. And I see we're living in a crazy, toxic world. And especially in our space of fitness, the world is very, very toxic, where people are calling people out and calling people boys and all other types of crazy stuff, and saying, well, did you go to the gym today? And there's only one person on this earth who can ever say, did you go to the gym today? In my point of view, that's David Goggins. If you're not David Goggins,
baddest motherfucker. Yes, sir.
But I see, like, all my brothers are here. I don't know, like, most of these guys, like, in person except for Josh. So is it our responsibility to not be as toxic and push out that bullshit? Donald, what do you think?
I mean, I'm not too sure. That's a good question. I really don't. I think just the world is toxic in general. I mean, it's not, it's not, it's just, that's the world we live in. Just everything about every day is toxic. The social media, what's the Real Housewives? All that shit. It's just, everything is toxic. So it just trickles into fitness and all. But, I don't know. It's just, that's just the way it is. I don't know how to clean that up. But yeah,
Forrest, we met on TikTok, and my TikTok go down. It's very toxic. Not use his name, but I damn sure one day did do Adam with all my medals on and told him, I'm 43 years old. I dare you to jump off the fucking porch. I will. Never mind, Lord Jesus. Forrest, it's our job not to be so toxic.
The fitness world, like, I'm an online fitness coach, and God bless my mother. I'm not going to cuss with that on none of this, but the fitness world is so toxic, and the most recent thing is kind of what my page on TikTok is about, the BBL or nots. And
you sure you want to have this conversation?
It was hilariously funny. You talking about other men though, but it was hilariously funny.
No, but that's just like little tidbit, but I'm not going to get into that. When it comes to the fitness world being toxic, I just think it's human nature, honestly. If we can think back to the earliest times, it was, hey, I personally enjoyed this. How can I make money off of it? Hey, this worked for me. I need to market it and make it sound like it works for everybody. CT Fletcher, it's still your motherfucking set. Maybe that works for you. Some people will be like, hey, man, it's okay you didn't get that last rep. We'll try next time. And that works for them. And both of them are going to market that and help the people that resonates to. And toxic people are going to buy toxic shit. That's why people still watch the Kardashians, bro. That's just what it is.
Brother Josh, we met at my meet when I was recovering, and then we met in DC when we was doing the testing event, and you hugged me like we were long lost friends.
Man.
We seen each other in life. So I know you're not toxic. So how do we not be toxic in this world of fitness, brother? Because we got to clean this stuff up.
I definitely agree with you. This kind of will touch on, I guess, a little bit of my mental health per se. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I am an individual, whatever I like to spread love. Okay. You know what I mean? Prior getting into powerlifting and everything, I was a very angry individual. And I've realized, as far as I've been doing this for maybe about a year now or so, so I'm still very ignorant to it. There's a lot of negativity out there, you know, and that negativity really is going to be anywhere. Social media predominantly, which is where a lot of powerlifters and everything do, you know, whether it be posting videos, all this kind of stuff, whatever like that. Social media in general is a toxic space, toxic place. I have learned you are always going to have a divide between some people or whatever like that that are going to be, you know, see things from a half glass full versus a half glass empty type of deal. You know what I mean? And would that be coming down to somebody critiquing somebody saying, "Hey man, your form is wrong, your technique is wrong, you're doing this wrong," versus somebody saying, "Hey, good job," whatever like that. Next time, try to clean this up a little bit better, whatever like that. It might help you, you know, in the end or whatever like that. You know, I have learned. I feel like the negative aspect and everything, as far as in this environment, is kind of just keep your nose out of it. You know what I mean? There's no way that, and I hate to say it, there's no way that us individuals who are going to see things as a positive light are going to be able to kind of like outshed all the others. You know, and I hate to say that, but you know,
Right.
that's something that, you know, I definitely have learned. You know, there's always going to be those people out there.
Brother Ryan, we met on Facebook. How do we manage to stay as brothers and clean up the toxic waste in the fitness game?
I agree with everyone so far. The fitness industry, the social media is toxic AF. The world is pretty toxic, and it's about being a positive person, not being an asshole. One of the issues I have with toxic or what's toxic is who's saying what's toxic and what's not is a big issue, right? I'm a middle-aged white man covered in tattoos, some muscles. I like beer. I like football. I am toxic AF. Welcome to me, you know? Yet I go around, treat everyone with respect, and I am nice to everybody, and I want to help everyone out in sports, online, you know, powerlifting, all that. You know, I run a big group. I help yet I do not live a toxic life. I open doors for people. I'm polite, yet society has labeled me toxic because I like football. I like traditional masculinity. I espouse those virtues. When did that become a shitty deal if you're not an asshole about it? There's a difference between toxicity or being an asshole, but it's who labels what, right? Like it's, you know, I don't know, man, you know, right? Yes, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. So yes, the world should improve and be less toxic. And the fitness industry is generally just poisonous. And as all members of it here, we should be helping that out. But who gets to label what is toxic and what isn't bugs the shit out of me. So it's, you know, but again, we need to improve. It's positive energy. If everyone puts out positive energy, hopefully the tiny little minority of people that whine about everything just eventually fade away because more people are being positive than negative.
Brother Steve, we met in powerlifting groups, and I call you all the time. Like I call you all the time, or I tell you all the time, I love you when I see you and your baby. So how can we clean up the toxic waste in the fitness game?
Well, it's unfortunate because a lot of the toxicity is a result of the fact that toxicity and that drama draws views. So when people do like the Natty or not, or like the BBL or not, like they do that shit because people watch it. They do that shit because people engage with it. And I'm in the powerlifting scene exclusively. I don't do TikTok. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm not an influencer. I don't try to influence people to buy certain products or behave certain ways. I just train as a elite level powerlifter, and people can watch that or not. But what I have noticed is that a lot of it is a result of either virtue signaling or you see a ton of that nowadays. Like you see a lot of people virtue signaling, and you'll see quite a bit of people putting other people down as a way to prop up their shitty accomplishments. So like if I can tear down Kevin's accomplishments, maybe mine don't seem so pale in comparison. I see quite a bit of that, but at the end of the day, your social media experience is what you make it. So like there's no toxicity on my Instagram because I don't follow toxic people and I don't have toxic followers because I can remove them. So it's important that everybody takes responsibility for the fact that they are directly responsible for their social media sphere. And I get it if you guys are like influencers or whatever, and you guys are like trying to sell products or like influence people to behave certain ways, like that's the job of an influencer. You have to deal with people that maybe you otherwise wouldn't want to because it's your job, whatever. But as far as your personal social media pages go, just weed out the toxicity. Like it's actually fairly straightforward to do. And once you do it, like I'm hearing you guys talk about like TikTok toxicity and like BBLs or not, and I'm just like, man, I'm so glad I'm not on that shit. Like I'm so glad.
You be thankful, bro. It's if it wasn't for Unpacked Radio, I probably wouldn't be over there. But I have to communicate with the world.
Yeah,
and
I understand that marketing. I totally get it.
Yeah, I have to communicate with the world because it's very strenuous sometimes. Brother Ken, we met on TikTok. You know the guy I'm talking about. He gets on my nerves, and I had to cuss him out one time, but it's all good. But how do you feel about how do we clean up the toxic waste in the fitness world?
So I feel like I kind of agree with Steve's point where it's like you give what you get. So like if you're getting or if you're viewing toxic behavior on social media, that's what you're going to see, and that may be something that you may project. But on the flip side, I'll say this, that I feel like toxic behavior can also be interesting for competition. Like if you have two lifters that are toxic towards each other, it just makes competition more interesting, I feel. I'm not a person that's very toxic myself. I do get a lot of hate on my social media, quite a bit, especially on my TikTok. I get a lot of hate, and I always try to avoid engaging in it. But sometimes you just got to engage, and you got to behave toxic. I always try to push out positive content. But I've noticed this with my positive content, I don't get as much interaction, or I don't get as much views. And me as a creator, it's like, damn. What do I do to up my views, to up my my followers and all that stuff? And I noticed that just engaging in toxic behavior just helps it. And it's an unfortunate thing because I'm actually not a toxic person. I'm like how Ryan is. It's like I have tattoos. I like beer. I like football. I like rock music. All that stuff. But I'm not a toxic person. I'm very kind. I'm very well spoken to other individuals. But don't get it twisted. I'll behave toxic if need be. So but I also feel like toxic behavior, again, it's like a yin and a yang. Like you have, in order to have positive, you also have to have a level of negativity as well to kind of balance itself out.
Brother Kevin, I know you specialize in calling out toxic people, so I know you're going to talk your talk. Feel free to shoot your shots, my friend.
Well, man, I learned a valuable lesson because I came into social media under the wing of an extremely toxic person, and I didn't really realize that there was any other way to do it. And I listened to this individual speak poorly of absolutely everyone who disagreed with them on any level, to really just an absolutely disrespectful degree. But it pays. That's the real reason. Engagement pays. Until we move away from a model where people just watching your videos directly pays you. The difference between the content I made before, when I bought into that ideology, that I thought I was doing good by calling out these people who were pumping fake products in the whole 9 yards, and I was calling people an ass hat, an unmitigated fuckstick, comparing their face to an unshaved scrotum, and all this shit that people thought was so hilarious. Yes, see, you're laughing right there. And the worst part is I meant every word. If you took a look at the individual I was talking about, his beard, his wrinkly face, he does look like an unshaved scrotum, but I regret saying that because it didn't add a single minute to a single person's life. So I went back and I demonetized all of my videos where I just ragged on people, and I've tried to put out more positive content. And the difference between what I make from ad revenue just from views now compared to then is easy. On a lazy month where I put out 4 videos on YouTube, I would make $2,000 in ad revenue, easy. Now it's significantly less than that. However, the people who willingly want to work with me, coach with me, my CPM per the amount that I'm paid by ad revenue per 1,000 views is drastically up. It climbed 400% compared to what I used to be, because advertisers are like, all right, this guy's not a scumbag. He's not just ragging on people, so they're more likely to want to work with you. I've had more offers for sponsored content that I have turned down because I'm not personally ready for that, because I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. It has affected my bottom line, but it is worth it because I don't feel gross about the stuff that I'm making anymore. And I don't feel gross about the people that I'm working with. I'd rather make an impact in people's lives than entertain them and make a freaking profit. But I say that fully aware that I am retired. I have a pension from the United States Marine Corps that allows me to make that decision. So there are folks who are not in my position, who are young, who are just trying to make ends meet. And if they have to pick on some other public figure in order to do it, I kind of get it. But at the same time, it's our appetite for that trash that keeps it rolling. If we valued positive content would pay the bills. We value the trash. Therefore, that's what pays. Therefore, that's what people do. It isn't that we're inherently toxic. It's that it's incentivized. And until it's not incentivized, we're still going to do it. Unless, you have a moral compunction against it. I don't think I'm holier than thou or better than anybody, but I want to be able to sleep at night. And I don't think that driving other people into the ground so that they'll watch my content instead of theirs is viable for me in the way that I look at life. Other people want to do it and they're all good with it. Like I've had lots of conversations with a guy named Greg Doucette, who's like really famous, and he does all the Natty or Not videos. And he and I have connected on some like philosophical and ideological levels where we have common ground, but he is very happy to make that kind of content for the profit that it brings in. And I'm not, and he has a Lamborghini and I don't. So there's definitely a cost for it, but I think I'm happier than he is. And I'd say that to his face.
Yeah. Tanisha, I know you talk your talk on social media. How do you feel about being toxic? Because if somebody get you wrong, you going left.
So I think we should point out that I'm a reciprocator. Right? I am perfectly nice to everybody, right? I'm nice to everybody. Most of my posts have something to do with real estate, or just maybe me in bikini. I don't know. But since I am the queen of nip tuck, right? People think it's okay for them to try me. It doesn't matter that I own 3 real estate brokerages. I'm the chick with the fake boobs and the fake behind, so we think we can say whatever to me, right? So I'm a reciprocator. I don't want to be toxic. I really don't. Every day I be like, Lord, I'm gonna be a nice person. I'm gonna ignore this person. I'm tired of Facebook jail. But people be trying me, and you're not gonna try me while shaped like a trash bag. I'm not having it.
Real quick, I don't believe in being toxic. The way I look at life is I have so many friends and so many people I've met across the world because of my love for fitness. And if I truly didn't love fitness, I wouldn't be here. And I met all these people because of who I am. But if you try me and you call someone 4 eyes and you cannot bench press when none of us bench pressing, I will fucking eat your ass for fucking lunch. DJ Smoke, real quick, because I got one more question I would like to ask, and we got to wrap this thing up. How you feel about people being toxic?
Well, I think I used to be toxic.
You used to be that guy? I would have asked your ass for lunch.
Yeah.
Damn sure you're not pressing when we pressing. You damn sure can't
I'm not benching what y'all benching.
You damn sure you can bend down and jump off the fucking.
Hey, I'll be back. I'm gonna catch up. I think I don't know who the smallest one of the group because I can't really tell. I think Steve might be the smallest.
You not.
That's a mistake. Like, he might be the shortest, but you fucked up.
Steve is also a reciprocator.
Don't come for me unless I send for you.
You said elite level powerlifter.
Yeah. As a big person myself, I feel it's my duty and responsibility to take care of my community. And I notice even while in the gym, if I see somebody about to have a horrible crash out, I save them. And even while out with my family, I'm always scanning. So you think as a big guy, is it your responsibility to pretty much comfort your community and make them feel safe around you, Donald?
Yes, that's just not necessarily as a big guy, just as a good human being. But people take it. Okay, so yes, the answer is yes, in my opinion. But everyone is different, and some people don't like to be either helped. I've had instances. I'll give you one small example. I was in the mall, and this girl, she had been probably about 27 years old. She worked one of those kiosks, and her pants were kind of riding kind of low, so you can see a butt crack. And people were walking by laughing, guys walking past laughing. So I walked past her, I said, you need to pull your pants up, your butt crack showing. Her response to me was, well, if you seen it, everybody else walk past, they didn't say anything, why you had to say something? And I just looked at her like, well, I'm here to, like you just said, if I feel like I'm helping you out, I feel like, I don't want you to be the laughing stock, but her response was toxic, like we just said. And I wasn't even coming from a place of, ill intent. I was trying to look out for her. So, people just reciprocate things a certain way. Everyone is different, but yes, I feel as though if you see something wrong, I feel as though you should just being a good person,
All right, we got 7 minutes, so let's try to get this done as fast as possible. Brother Forrest, do you feel like it's your obligation to take care of your community?
Yes, the answer is yes. I agree with what he just said. It's silly to think, but honestly, it came from the movie Titanic. Like, when the children go, guys stay. We're going to deal with this. And I don't know why that stuck with me as a kid, but it's always been like, y'all get out, I'll take care of it. Whenever I was a rodeo athlete, the longest time I spent in the hospital was 11 weeks, and I rode another bronc 2 weeks out. And my whole thing was whenever I saw a friend or family member hurt in the hospital, it really bothered me. I was always like, it's supposed to be me. I can handle that. I don't want you to have to. I would rather be in that position than you. Even if you say you can handle this, that I would rather it be me. I would rather put myself through the ringer and you be okay. That's just how I've always been. And I would do that for anybody on the street, regardless of color, creed. I don't care if you're a Mandalorian. I don't care if you're whatever. I don't care what you are, who you are. If you need help, I will help you. Period.
All right, folks. Next time I got to go to the hospital, I'm calling you.
All right.
Bet.
Joshua, real quick, is it your responsibility to take care of your community?
I think to my extent, yeah, a little bit too much. I'm the type of individual, man. You've met me in person and everything. I'm a very open on person. I'll take my shirt off the back of somebody else or like that as long as they're warm over myself. That's the way I see it. My mindset on that process or whatever like that, like treat others the way you wish to be treated and everything. And I know it kind of sounds a little, people can use that in, multiple different aspects and everything, but I want somebody to treat me with respect and everything. So I'm going to give that person that much more respect. That's the way I'm going to see that. So absolutely, yes, I'm going to do whatever I can as far as I can take care of my community.
Bro, Ryan, is it your responsibility to take care of your community?
I think it's everyone's responsibility to take care of their own, their family, their community, their greater reach, wherever you are. And, as much as I'm about to get canceled for this, that's a traditional masculine value. You got to take care of your family. Like, one of the things I live by is be the man you needed. And it's that simple. So whatever situation you're in, or another situation you see that person in, be the man you needed if you were there or when you were there earlier, right? I'm an old fart compared to most of you here, so it's a little bit old fashioned, but I mean, that's truly how I live, is just be the man I needed. And if we were all like that, we all took care of our own and we all took care of everyone we saw, the world would be a fan-fucking-tastic place now, wouldn't it, right? So it's just, it's the way it should, it's the way a man should be. So I guess I'll be canceled shortly. So that's it, everyone. Be the man you needed to be,
Brother Steve, real quick, is your responsibility to take care of your community?
Well, the short answer is yes. And the longer answer is sometimes, and it depends. Okay. So being that I coach and mentor and I help a lot of people, there reaches a point where if I continue to give too much to the greater community, because like if I consider the whole sport my community, if I continue just to give randomly to strangers online, I start to detract from the quality of the service that people pay me for. So it reaches a point where some of the people that I help for free, I end up having to respond to them less or cut them off to prioritize my time. So I do think it's important to help and to serve the greater community, but I also think it's important to prioritize the things that are important to you. And like Ryan said, that should always be your family and your closest community first. Don't give too much of yourself to random people, but you should always try to give when you're able to.
Brother Ken, real quick, it's your responsibility to take care of your community.
I kind of agree with what Steve was saying. Yes, but it depends. For me, like one of my grand goals is to like be able to coach kids. So it's like I want to be able to help kids through sports and all that stuff. So that's community work right there. I want to help kids get off the streets, find better outlets for negative behavior and whatnot. So to an extent, yes, but at the same time, it's kind of like what what was it, Steve said. If you do if you're taking care of too much outside of your own house, you sometimes you tend to forget your own household, and like I don't think that that's fair. So I feel like it's just dependent.
Brother Kevin, we know you used to go around the world actually pulling people out of bad situations. So it's your responsibility to take care of your community.
Well, piggyback on what Ryan said real quick. I think that the phrase is toxic masculinity because masculinity in and of itself is not toxic. So that's where I would fall on that. And I know there's a lot of people that mishandle it and misuse it, stuff like that. I'm not devaluing what he said. I'm just saying, let's focus on the distinction, because my dad, who is probably one of the most pacifist, quiet, unassuming, he's an accountant, for God's sake. He reads Civil War novels in his spare time. He would not fit in this conversation. I don't know how to put it any better than that. But he's the one who told me, if you have the ability to help somebody or positively affect their situation, you have the responsibility to do so. And I think that falls in with what the core, what everybody else was saying, is like, yes, but that but being, do you actually have the ability? I've given too much in the past. I've learned how to effectively give help where it's needed, but also inspire them to help themselves at the same time. So deny no one, but enable them to do the things that they need to do without it costing myself. Because I used to just mindlessly spend myself. And that was my demonstration of how much I love, or how much I was a good person, or what have you. It was me flexing how awesome I am for you, because look how much I'll give you. Look how much sleep I'll lose. Look how I'll give you the last $10 in my pocket, even though I don't have any money for food today or any of the rest of that stuff. And I'll still do that. I'd rather go hungry for a day than watch somebody else go hungry for a week. But if you can help, yeah, like somebody in the chat said, my dad is basically Uncle Ben if Uncle Ben didn't get killed, because my pop's still around. He also says stuff like everything costs time, money, or aggravation, so make sure you're spending wisely. He's just dropping these nuggets.
That's a good one too.
I'm writing that down, bro.
Yeah. You might not cost me money, but you are costing me time and aggravation, and I got to determine for myself, are you worth it? Like that is stuff that has made such an impact in my life. So yes, short answer, absolutely, we have a responsibility to help the people that we can help. And fortunately, I'm in a position to help a lot of fucking people.
Let me see if I can squeeze this in 1 minute or less. First and foremost, in the world of misunderstandings and everything going on crazy in this world, this is what true community looks like. Everyone is here, and we're all different. We're all from different circumstances, and we're all here having open dialogue. And that's maybe the way to fix some of this BS that's going on in this world. And real quick, the greatest who ever said it said this, David Goggins. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Someone wants everything you have. They want the husband you have. They want the wife you have. They want the job you have. They want that money you have. And you got to stay hard, and you got to stay focused into the game.
I can't stay hard. I'm sorry.
Salute. And I did it with all the cuss words. I did it with all the cuss words. All right, thank you, bros.
Everybody else.